Hello everyone. I am Laura Belyakiak, a Teacher 1 applicant of Kabagakian Elementary School. This is my skill demonstration, computer literacy, and we are going to use the Microsoft Excel. So first and foremost, of course, we are going to open the Microsoft Excel application. We are going to use the basic and most used formula in Excel, such as this formulas with sum, count, average, max, and mean. So these are the following formulas. And I also have here the prepared sheet. So this is a mark sheet of students who are taking exams in English, math, and science. So the first thing to do is we are going to get the total marks of each student. So how to get the total marks of this data? So of course, if we say total, we are going to use the sum function. Let us always remember that when using the formula or function in Excel, we are going to start, or it always starts with an equal sign. So equals sum, and then we are going to select this. So this is how we do it manually. If we select this, a dialog box will open. So this is the dialog box. So I am now going to highlight the score of the first student, and then in the number 2 cell, math, and then science, and then okay. So this is the total mark of this student for this data. Now we are going to drag it down. This is one of the benefits or advantages of formulas in Excel because it can be copied, pasted to different cells, and even to different worksheets. So users don't have to recreate the same formula if they want to perform the same operations over several sets of data. Okay, next we are going to get the average of this data. So in order for us to get the average, we are going to use the average function. So equals average, open parenthesis, and then we click this. Then let's go to our dialog box again. So let us highlight this one for math, for science. And now we have an average of 56. And this is for the student, Adrian. And then again, we can drag it down to get its respective count. Alright, so now we are going to get the grand total marks of each subject. So in this, we are going to use the formula sum. So equals sum. If you want it to be faster, so we can just highlight this data, close parenthesis, and then equals. So it yields an answer of 577. The same thing, we can drag this sideways to get its total for the other subjects. Next thing that we are going to get is the number of students. So in this data, we are going to use the formula count equals count A. Okay, so this formula allows us to count the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So these are the students. We're going to highlight this, close parenthesis, and it will give us the answer of 10. So if we try to validate it, okay, so these are the students listed here, and this is correct, which is 10. Next is the number of subjects. So the same thing, we are going to use the formula counta equals count A or counta. And then let us highlight the subjects here. So the answer is 3. Now we are going to get the maximum marks of the students in every subject. In order for us to do that, we are going to use the max function. So equals max, or for maximum. Then we can just highlight the datas here. Okay, so it appears that the maximum mark for English is 89. Which is correct. Again, we can drag this sideways to get its respective count. So as you can see here, it also gives us the maximum marks in this column, which is 225, which is correct. And then we are going now to get the minimum marks of each subjects. So for us to get that data, we are going to use the formula mean or minimum. So equals mean. Again, let us highlight the data here. Close parenthesis, equals. So the minimum mark is 39 for this column, for this English subject. Then we can also drag this sideways to get its respective count. Alright, so the next data that we are going to get, or the data that is number, this is a number of students with greater than 60 marks. Now, what is the formula that we are going to use? So in this data, we are going to use the COUNTIF formula. COUNTIF, open parenthesis, and then let's go back to the manual way of making the formula in Excel. So the range would be so this is for each number of students marks for in each subject. So the range would be this one, English. So it says here that we have to get greater than 60 marks or more than 60. Alright, so the answer is 4. It says here that there are 4 students who got greater than 60 marks. So let us try to see if this is correct. So more than 60, so 1, we have Alan, we have Grace, 2, we have Dave, 3, and we have Lady, which is correct, 4. We have 4 students. Again, we can drag this to the other side, and it will automatically get the number of students who get greater than 60 marks in each of the subjects. Okay, so the next data that is being asked in this table is the number of students who failed. So what is the formula that we are going to use? So still we are going to use the formula COUNTIF, and then our range would be the same. So let's try to use this, the manual thing. So the range is for English. And our criteria, so for those who fail the exam, so they are, of course, it would be less than 40, right? So it is less than 40. So those who get less than 40 are those who fail the exam. Okay, so it says here that there is one student who failed the exam, who got less than 40. So let us try to validate. So, which is correct? We have Angel who scored 39 in English. So again, we can always drag this to get its respective count. Okay, so the next thing, so it is being asked here, the total mark of students with greater than 60 marks in math. So at this point of time, we are dealing with multiple criteria. So if we are dealing with multiple criteria, we are going to use the function or the formula SUMIFs. Alright, so adds the cells specified by a given sets of conditions or criteria. So our sum range will be, so our sum range would be the total marks of students. So our criteria range would be math, because this one is asking for greater than marks in math. Okay, so let us highlight the math data. And the criteria range 2 would be greater than 60. Alright, so it says here that In math subject, there are a total of 986 scores. So let us try to validate if this data is correct. So let us look at our data in math. So let us highlight the students who got more than 60. Let's try to highlight this. 65. We have 75, 64, 65, 65. Okay, so let us try to add. So we have 218, 225, 208, 140, and 195. So which is equal to 986. So our data here is correct or valid. So next is we are going to get the average mark of students with greater than 60 in math. Okay, yeah, so in this data, we are asked to use the average ifs function. So the average ifs function. So again, we are going to highlight the total marks. And then let's go to the math data so that we can get its average. And then greater than 60. Alright, so the answer would be 197. So the next data that we are going to get is the number of students who got greater than 60 marks in all subjects. So again, we are still dealing with multiple criteria. So in this data, we are going to use the COUNTIFS function. Alright, so what will be the criteria? So our criteria would be, in English, and then in all subjects, we have greater than 60. So the next subject is math, which is our criteria range number 2, and then greater than 60, and then science, because it says here 60 marks, more than 60 marks in all subjects. Okay, so greater than 60. Alright, so the number of students who got greater than 60 marks in all subjects is, there are 3 students. Okay, the next data that is being asked, the total marks of greater than 60 marks in all subjects. So again, as what we have learned earlier, so we are going to use equals sum ifs in this data for us to get the result. So again, so it says total marks. So our sum range would be the total marks. Okay, and then in all subjects. So let us start with English first. And then our criteria would be greater than 60. So we have multiple criteria here. So the next is math, the math subject, and then greater than 60 criteria. Then the last is science, and the criteria would be greater than 60. Okay, so it says total marks of more than 60 marks in all subjects. So that will be the total. So the last but not the least data that we are going to get, or that is being asked in this table, is the average marks of greater than 60 marks in all subjects. So again, average, and we are dealing with multiple condition. So we're going to use the average ifs. Average ifs, and then let's click this. So let's get the total marks first. That will be our average range. Then the criteria would be for English, since it says all subjects. So the next is math, greater than 60. Next is science. Criteria again would be greater than 60. And okay, so the answer is 217. Okay, so that would be all. I hope that you've learned from this short skill demonstration using the basic formulas in Excel. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.